Okay, the Japanese Rail Pass. So if you're going to Japan and you're visiting multiple cities, I, like many people, highly recommend that you pick up the Japanese Rail Pass. It gives you unlimited access to the JR rail system, which includes the rail system within cities, as well as the high-speed network train system that can get you from one city to another. Unfortunately, as of September 2023, the cost of the JR Rail Pass has increased quite a bit. I think in Canadian dollars, it's now $750 for 14 days, versus what I paid, I believe, back in June, which was $450. Nonetheless, it is worth it, because a one-way ticket from Tokyo to Osaka, for example, can cost anywhere between $100 to $300. So that doesn't even include how much money you're going to end up spending inside Tokyo or Kyoto or Osaka to get around using public transit systems. So again, highly recommend. It's a great investment. The way that the JR Rail Pass works is a bit it's different than, I would say, what you would purchase in Canada, the United States, and in Europe. So the way that it works is you have to order your rail pass before you go to Japan, and there's a 90-day window, so you can't order it too early from your trip, and you have to make sure that you order it before you go, because you actually get a voucher mailed to you directly. Now, the voucher usually takes, I think, less than a week. I think mine arrived, 3 or 4 days after I ordered it. You can purchase it directly through the JR Rail Company, which I do recommend, only because it seemed like if you purchase it through the JR Rail Company itself, you can actually, once you activate it, and I'll talk about that in a second, you can book and reserve seats, online, versus if you get it from a vendor. I found that I wasn't able to do that online. I had to do everything from the machine. So you have to order the pass, you pay for it, it gets mailed to you, and you get a certificate. You have to change that certificate at a JR Rail office once you get to Japan. And you have to make sure that when you're at the airport, you get the travel visa, because they will check to see that you have the travel visa, because the JR Rail Pass is only for tourists. So it's not for locals, it is just for tourists. Although I can't imagine that you would go through Japanese border control without getting, the stamp. Although in this case, it wasn't actually a stamp, it was a sticker. So once you get to Tokyo or Osaka or Japan, you do have to find a Japanese Rail Pass office. You wait in line, the attendant, checks your passport, they check the voucher, they take it from you, and then they hand you a little cardboard-ish type of card with a QR code. Now, you can use the card itself, which is the most important thing, to get into and out of the gates, and be mindful that you have to insert the card when you go to enter, and then grab it on the other side as you leave. Do not forget that card, because without it, you can't actually access the Japanese Rail Pass system. You can reserve seats for the Shinkansen and a few other trains, but again, those cards that you get just prove that you have the right to that seat. You don't actually use them to get in and out of the station or to access the train. So once you change your certificate into the little card, you need to make sure that you hold on to that card with your dear life, because I don't know what happens if you lose it, but I can imagine that you may not be able to get another card, because you could just lie and say, well, I lost it. They may not give you another one. So that is what you use to get around. The card itself is what you use to get into and out of the gates, but if you're actually going to the machines, the way that you the way that you reserve your seat is by using the QR code. You go up to any machine and you tap the Japanese Rail Pass symbol, and then the rest of the steps are pretty well laid out. I will say that traveling around Japan with the pass, but just in general, was quite easy as an English speaker. You can find signs in English, and when you're traveling in and out of the city, the train stations and rail stations all have English options and English subtitles, if you will. Posted absolutely everywhere. So at the terminal, just follow the steps. One thing I do want to note for you that tripped me up is that when it asks you to put in your passport, you need to put in the full number. So FYI, to book or reserve a ticket on the Shinkansen or a train, you don't need your passport, but you need to memorize your passport number. And you do need to put in the full number, including all numbers and any letters that may be part of your passport. Once you do that, you put in your current station or the station that you're looking to leave from, and then your intended station of arrival, and then it gives you various options of what trains are available what time. You can reserve your seat. They will show you like a full train map of the seats that are available, and then it prints you a little reservation ticket. And again, the ticket itself that it prints is not the ticket that you use to access the system. It's just proof if you're sitting in the wrong seat, or if someone's sitting in your seat, or in case an attendant comes by. Although truth be told, I think I only had one person come by once to ask me for proof of a reserved ticket. There is one downside about the Japanese Rail Pass that I think needs to be emphasized here, which is that you actually can't book anything before you get to Japan. Because you have to give in the voucher and get the pass when you're there, you have to book everything once you're in Japan, which I actually found very difficult and very anxiety-inducing. So I'm the type of person where I book my accommodations usually in advance, and I booked my bus and or my train tickets in advance, just to make sure that I'm not stuck somewhere and that I can get to my next destination, and B, also so that I'm not paying a fortune if there's one or two spots that are left. But I wasn't able to do that with this trip. So if you're going during the high season, I know that on the JR system, there are carts that are open for reservation, and then there are carts that are, available to people that do not have a reservation. So as someone that was able to make a reservation the entire time, unfortunately, I can't speak to what it's like to try and catch a train when you don't have a reserved seat. And that's something that you may have to sort of think about, and your level of comfort if you're traveling during the high season. I was traveling between September 15th and 30th, so literally just sort of winding down into the off season, so I didn't really have that many problems, and I was actually able to reserve a ticket on trains that weren't entirely full even a day or two beforehand. But it was something that I did find stressful. I did find it difficult. So that's something that I want to emphasize here, is that if you do go the JR route, you need to prepare yourself for the fact that you won't be able to actually start reserving tickets until you get there. Just be prepared to book, dare I say, a little bit of time, 10 to 15 minutes at a terminal once you get there, to reserve your tickets and to plan out your trip when you're actually there.